Speaker, we for attending upon the House and giving us such a very exhaustive briefing on the progress in transitioning to clean and renewable energy.
Government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us here on Good Morning Ghana on the Metro Television. Today is the 5th of March, 2025. And we thank God we're still alive to bring you the show. A show that you highly regard because of the quality of the conversation, the quality of the guests that come here or appear on the show. My name once again is Mo Raudu, and once again, thank you very much for tuning in. As I always do, before I introduce my guests, let's look at the front page stories. So the Ghanaian Times, this daily graphic, it says economic transformation stage set. Vice President, drought bushfires loom. The Ghana Commercial Bank post record profit. The Ghanaian Times, celebrating 68th independence anniversary, public express hope for better Ghana. Basic Traditional Council honors U.S. Ambassador, Foreign Ministry to deliver Hajj passport in 3 days at Blakwa. eTransact named 2024 FinTech Company of the Year. Daily Guide. eTransact Ghana adjudged Best FinTech Company. NSA goes to names Gift of Owari, Mensa Returns, ready for NIB. Daughter of Medra Wahala, own up or we unmask you, Speaker. The Custodian. Gold Board initiative needs clarity. Samuel Abu Jinapo. Beware of Wagadri NDC. Minority cautions Ghanaians. We will implement economic dialogue outcomes. Mida Boss. 2025 budget will tackle food inflation. Bank of Ghana Governor. There's A.A. Bright Foundation, Lord's Government for Free Sanitary Pads promise. The Inquisitor. We are poised to implement outcomes of the economic dialogue. Mida Boss. Unnecessary attack on Mahama. Alhaji Sani Blastamidu. Bafwa Koto say is not Koumanhine. ERHC. NPP defeat fact-finding. Sticker is angry. NLA boss appointed VIP of Allah. The Herald newspaper. Crisis reading. National Security Workforce demands Mohammed's reset. Ghana must move beyond gold and oil to attract more investments. GIPC CEO. Ghana, MTN sign MOU to boost digital skills training. Ex-NSA Deputy Director heeds President call, returns to Ghana amid investigations into ghost name scandal. Abu Jinapo raises concerns about Gold Board, but I2 Development Ghana achieves prestigious ISO certification in real estate. The Daily Statesman. Akufo-Addo responsible for exchange rate stability. Minority takes government on over unfulfilled NHIS funding pledge. More Ghanaians lose jobs. YAP beneficiaries asked to go home. Jinapo calls for clarity on proposed Gold Board. The Accra Times. Contribute meaningfully. Speaker Bagwin to MPs. The road to greatness. Mahama promises new destination as true state of nation exposes criminals. Rising insecurity in Ghana. Minority cry. Economic dialogue outcomes will be implemented. Mida Boss. Clark, majority leader, task MPs, enrich Ghana's parliamentary democracy. The insight: cocoa farmers or cocoa farms under threat. Over 30,000 hectares destroyed by galamsey, sand mining, others. We are poised to implement outcomes of economic dialogue. MIDA boss. Address land renewal issues. GDLA to government. Afram Plains residents call for urgent government intervention as faulty pontoon disrupts business travel. Ukraine, what are European leaders going to choose? People or war? The new crusading guide. Land grabbers in East Legon flout Supreme Court. Alleged NSS scandal. Giftawari Mensah back to face NIB. Government will implement key policy recommendations from Economic Dialogue, VEEB. Ketu North MP launches scholarship scheme as Council of State member supports with 100,000 Ghana cedis. Pray for Mahama to revive Ghana. Alhaji Sinari's Ramadan plea to Muslims. NCSSMAG endorses gold board to ensure fair pricing for small-scale miners. The Informer. Ghanaian in alleged 8 million naira theft faces extradition. NPP MP threatens party over 2024 defeat. Economic dialogue. Rising government expenditure wrecking economy. Ato forcing. 2025 budget, minority vows to reject new taxes amid plans to scrap e-levy, others. Thieves endanger patient lives at Kolebu, cut oxygen copper pipes for scrap. Publisher. Abu-Jinapo questions dubious gold board initiative, demands clarity. NSS scandal, Giftawari Mensah will avail herself to NIB, Afenyo marking. Abronye rejects Bamia bad candidate claim. Bafwa Koto Osei restrained from claiming Kwumahine title. Daily Post. Becoming MP is a divine call to impact lives. Edem Agbana as he awards 1.3 million cedis in scholarships to 302 tertiary students. We are poised to implement outcomes of economic dialogue. MIDA boss. Volta Diaspora Caucus protest over daughter of a murderer comment by NPP. It will be my Bible. Ato forcing pledges to implement national economic dialogue recommendations. The Daily Searchlight. Be bold and speak up against injustice. President Mahama charges clergy. Abolish the Council of States. OT citizens. Ato must work with industry to produce employable skills. Education Minister. Fidelity Bank supports new Horizon Special School with donation. People of Chamba installs new youth chief. Metro Lens. Ofanko in Sawam roads, deterioration reaches crisis point. Blows in Parliament over SONA debate. Giftawari Mensah returns to Ghana. The Business and Financial Times. Ghana at 68, the elusive dream of economic independence. Treasury bill rate decline. Of course, that's a feature. There's Giadex CEO sees aluminium industry as key economic recovery. Market reflective yield curve key to government bond re-entry. $900 million vegetables cold chain prospect untapped. MTN stock hits record high on strong revenue growth. Payaza Africa appoints Frank Anwell as country manager. John Sheriff Bawa named State Housing Managing Director. You're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Please stay with us.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fat missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matias.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me, Jidi said we use Kel 360 toothpaste. Same kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasan. Ile ko saying. Kel
360 did the win. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You so feeling ye. Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Fire pomudi ni agubi. Ghana fueni aji. If you say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice.
Me de go me jollof mu. Ne mi si wa hodoma. E ma ne dance.
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
Sweet natural. Sankofa natural spices. And one you use 100% natural. Said the happen.
Adofo, mamu huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. FDA.
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Look around.
Home also need a makeover.
Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want...
A table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
Blue Jeans Energy Drink.
Fire pomudi ni agubi. Ghana fueni aji. If you say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice.
Me de go me jollof mu. Ne mi si wa hodoma. E ma ne dance.
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
Sweet natural. Sankofa natural spices. And one you use 100% natural. Said the happen.
Adofo, mamu huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. FDA.
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Hello, my friends. My name is Cal Kids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Cal Kids, happy smile.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and Iricor brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
And then you go. Yeah, but
You're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audo Moro. This show, I must remind you, is proudly associated with Blue Jeans Energy Drink. Well, let me say Blue Jeans Energy Drink is actually proudly associated with Good Morning Ghana. And I've always encouraged you to have a taste of Blue Jeans Energy Drink because of the numerous, how do you call it, nutritional value and benefits that you get from drinking Blue Jeans Energy Drink. Now, Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains many vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been tested, it's been tried, it's absolutely fantastic. We know it, and I would encourage you to have a taste of it. So Blue Jeans Energy Drink is for bold and active men and women. It is in shops nationwide. For bulk purchases, please contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190, 0208 128 190, or 055 00 1000, 055 000 1000. This program can also be watched live on Facebook. So if you want to watch us live on Facebook, please go to Good Morning Ghana. Good Morning Ghana. And you have an alternative, which is Metro TV Ghana simply. You can watch us on Facebook. And also if you want to watch us on YouTube, go to Metro TV Ghana. Metro TV Ghana. We're also live on DSTV channel 277. So the options are there. But look, you can make this very simple for yourself. You see that QR code, Kabiru Mahama, who is the MP for Wale Wale and also the former technical advisor to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, our former vice president and also presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. So Dr. Kabiru is running a little late, and so he should be here in a few minutes. We sincerely apologize for that. Mr. Kwesibra Jr., good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana. It's always a pleasure having you here. We're grateful that you've been able to make time. I noticed that most of the newspapers this morning are reporting the return of Gifty Oware Mensah. Personally, I really didn't think that it was worth reporting because I would have thought that she's arrived and so what next? But it is what it is. The newspapers have reported it and we'll talk about it because that's what we do here, report what the newspapers are reporting. So if you look at today's Daily Guide newspaper, Gifty Oware Mensah returns ready for NIB. And if you look at that story on page 3 of the paper, it says that a former deputy director of the National Service Authority, NSA, Gifty Oware Mensah, has returned to Ghana amidst growing calls for accountability in some alleged shady activities at NSA, leading to the state losing millions of Ghana cedis. Oware Mensah, who is a member of the Ghana Football Association Executive Committee had been out of the country since the December 7, 2024 election, leading some to speculate she was absconding from justice over her alleged role in the ghost names scandal. Allegations are that monthly allowances were alleged being paid to some 8,000 non-existing national service personnel over a period of time. But she returned to the country yesterday, just as rumors were beginning to swell over a potential action by National Intelligence Bureau (NIB) to arrest her over the scandal. Her return also coincided with the arrest of former Deputy Director of Operations at the NSA, Kweku Ohinejan, popularly known as Osonoba, who was detained by the NIB in connection with the scandal. Although her role in the scandal remains unclear, it's suspected that she would either be arrested or invited by intelligence agencies in the coming days as investigations continue in a bid to bring the perpetrators to justice. Madam Oware-Mensah received overwhelming support from the 20 Women's Premier League clubs during a congress in Tamale in October 2023 to secure a 4-year term as the representative for women's football on the GFA Executive Council. She's well known in football administration in Ghana and is the owner of the Women's Premier League club, Berry Ladies, and also serves as the chairperson of the Black Queens Management Committee. So last week, President John Mahama indicated that some individuals involved in the National Service Authority's financial scandal have absconded. Delivering his first State of the Nation address in his second term in Parliament, the President indicated that he had directed the security agencies to declare the suspects as wanted, explaining that the Operation Recover or Loot team has been tasked to bring the perpetrators of the NSA ghost names scandal to book. He said those involved in the scandal must be held accountable, adding that such brazen theft of public funds must be stopped and punished. Meanwhile, the Minority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Fenyumakin, has assured the Gift to Oware-Mensah would make herself available to the NIB for investigation, stating that there is no need for a Rambo-style approach to arresting suspects. He clarifies that Madam Oware-Mensah was not in the run, but rather on a holiday, pointing out that social media escalated the rumors of the absconding from justice. He said Madam Oware-Mensah legal team is in contact with the NIB, and whatever the NIB has against her, would have to be done within due process of law. He's also stating that the New Patriotic Party is not against accountability, adding that if the new government needs former appointees to explain certain matters, it is within their rights to do so, and if it needs investigations, there will be no problem. And that's important to follow due process. That's the Honorable Alexander Fenyumakin, who's the Minority Leader and also the MP for Efutu. Mr. Kwesi Pratt, what do you make of this development?
Well, I think that it's a very significant story.
Okay.
There's a lady who had been accused, of involvement in a ghost names scandal. And all along, the media had created the impression that she had absconded from justice. And there have been public calls for her to be declared a wanted person and so on. I mean, her return is significant. I mean, it shows a certain level of confidence. She appears to be confident that nothing will be found against her. And I'm sure that she will avail herself of all the opportunities she has to present herself to the law enforcement agencies for the investigation. It's a very bold move, and I think we all have to wait, for the outcome of the investigations. It is difficult to think that if she was not confident of her innocence, she would have come back to the country. So we just wait and see. I mean, there's a very significant, confident move. Now, it is the Fourth Estate which investigated this scandal and first published the details of it and so on. My problem is that I also appear to have a lot of respect for the Fourth Estate. They've done work before, which proved to be extremely valuable and thorough. So these are the two situations we have: the confidence of the lady, the impeccable record of the Fourth Estate, the state's interest in the matter, and her return. It's a very interesting cocktail. And I think that we should just wait for the outcome of the investigations.
Did she have an option?
She could have stayed out of the country.
And not come back to Ghana.
And not come back. She could. If she didn't, she came on her own volition.
Yes.
Nobody compelled her to come and so on. And that's very significant. You know.
According to her lawyers, she's not been invited yet by any investigative state apparatus. So as far as they're concerned, there's no issue.
It is possible that she may not have been invited yet, but if she was out of the jurisdiction, how was she to be invited? You understand? So it is possible that she has not been invited. Nonetheless, I mean, whatever it is, she's back home. And if the state investigative authorities have any questions to ask, it does appear that she's ready to answer those questions. You know, I'm happy that she's back home. I mean, the level of confidence she's displaying is very, very interesting.
Yeah, that's her, your shot.
Yeah.
Arriving at the Kotoka International Airport.
Yes, I think that we'll wait to see, you know, what will come out.
You know, there were people who were for some reason expecting that she would have been arrested right there.
Why? She has voluntarily come.
And then whisked away.
No. I think, look, we should...
Because of history, you know.
We should respect the rights of citizens. There's a woman of interest. A number of allegations have been made against her. She voluntarily comes back to the country. Why would you arrest her on the tarmac?
Yeah.
So what I expect is that if there are any pieces of evidence, if there are any questions that the investigative authorities want to pose, she will be respectfully invited, you know, and then questioned. She has not been proven guilty in any court. You understand? She hasn't even been charged, and so on. So at this stage, I think it's important to respect her full rights, you know, as a citizen of this country.
I see. The national organizer of the MPP has actually just sent this statement for my attention. And it's from Henry Nana Boakye. It says, consistent with my position that the Media Foundation for West Africa through Fourth Estate has no reasonable basis to smear my image. My lawyer, Sir Kodia Bafwe and partners have written a demand notice to MFWA, Fourth Estate, to retract and apologize for unjustifiably tainting my reputation. And it says, should MFWA, Fourth Estate, fail to do the needful, my lawyers have my full instructions to commence legal proceedings against them. Now, this was a statement which was authored on the 24th of February 2025. I doubt because I haven't come across any apology or retraction from the Fourth Estate to Nanabi, so I don't know whether he's going to go to court as he has threatened. But it says, Media Foundation for West Africa, attention the Executive Director, dear sir, demand for retraction and apology. We act for Henry, and it's in connection with the same matter. We ask for Henry Nana Boakye, our client, and write in respect of the above subject. And it says, our client instructs us that sometime in February 2025, you aired on TV3 a purported investigative story titled NSS Scandal, the Inside Story, which story has been republished and discussed on several other media platforms. We're further instructing that as part of your presentation on TV3, you mentioned our client's name and published his picture as one of the people who managed the NSS, now known as the National Service Authority, from 2017 to 2024. It is our further instruction that you specifically allege that our client was at the NSA as Deputy Executive Director from 2017 to 2020 and imputed to him responsibility for happenings at the authority within the stated period, whilst our client is resolute that no wrong was done by the officers of the NSA. So then you begin to understand the posture of Gift Mentor. That no wrong was done by the officers of NSA over the past 8 years. We have his instructions to bring to your notice that he was Deputy Executive Director between January 2017 and September 2018 when he resigned after being elected a National Youth Organizer of the New Patriotic Party. The publication of our client's picture along with the false allegations of fraudulent and improper conduct is defamatory of our client. Consequently, we have our client's instructions to demand from you, and we hereby do that within 7 days of receipt of this letter, you retract and or cause to be retracted the aforementioned story as published on TV3. We also have our client's instructions to demand that you issue an apology for the false publication within 7 days of receipt of this letter, to publish in the same manner as aforementioned false allegations were published. So this statement, or this, so this letter was written on the 24th of February. Today is the 5th of March. I'm curious to know whether any action subsequently has been taken beyond the issuance of this statement. But like you said, in the last 8 years, as far as it's concerned, nothing untoward has happened. And would you have perhaps expected Gift Aware to have done the same? If indeed,
no.
Because her name was all over the place as well.
Listen, I mean, Ghana B is acting within his rights as a citizen. And there's nothing wrong with the posture that he has taken. Indeed, if the Fourth Estate has evidence of wrongdoing, they have to provide it. If they refuse to apologize as demanded, it is reasonable to expect that the matter will go before a competent court. And the court then will decide whether or not indeed the allegations have any grounds or have no grounds. And if the allegations have no grounds, of course, the consequences are clear. You understand? The consequences for publishing falsehood and so on are very clear. I believe absolutely in respect to those who have been alleged to have committed these offenses. I have no problem. I have no problem at all, either with the investigation or the reaction of those who have been alleged to have misconducted themselves.
Okay.
You know, this is how every society should work.
Right.
And I have no difficulty at all.
Okay. So I think like as you rightly said, we wait to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And we're watching with bated breath. We're watching keenly how matters unfold. And looks like there are some interesting days ahead.
And the lady is not under any obligation to write to the Fourth Estate to demand an apology and so on. She's not.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you've been in the media for some time. All of us have been maligned at one stage or the other.
True. Sometimes
you're maligned and you simply decide to ignore it. You know, it's not worth the fight.
Yeah.
Look, fighting cases in the court is not easy. It comes with some expenses. And indeed, if you were to get very good lawyers, it can be very, very expensive. You understand? So sometimes you decide that your own actions, your own history and so on will speak for you. And therefore, there's no need to battle every allegation that is made against you and so on. Sometimes you make that decision very clearly. Okay? So the fact that people do not sometimes fight when allegations are made against them is not an indication of their guilt, and it's not an indication of their cowardice. It is simply an indication that they don't want to go through the whole rigor, you know, the expense involved and so on. Sometimes some of these libel cases can last for 3, 4, 5 years. You know, just cut your losses. You know, you drop the case from court, and if need be, I would instruct the team, the editorial team, to write an apology. You know, clears you, everything is nicely done and so on. And he insisted on going to court. After 4 years in court, he lost the case. Lost the case completely.
Yeah.
And were actually awarded costs, substantial costs, you know, which we have refused to pursue. And so these things are tricky. For me, the most important thing is that the rights of citizens should not be abused under any circumstance. Nobody is guilty until proven guilty. You understand? And the investigative authorities have to understand that accused persons have rights. You understand? Now, in this particular case, we are dealing with a situation where no charges have been filed against them. Yes. For now, rumor. You understand? For now, rumor. For now, speculation. That is what they are facing. And it's important that their full rights should be respected. Full, absolute, full rights should be respected as citizens of this country.
I mean, the only challenge I have with the earlier comment you made about how sometimes people's reputations are damaged, you know, people are maligned from day in, day out by our own colleagues, you know, within the Inca fraternity, and how you go to court to go and seek some kind of reputational, or to go and seek redress in court. Even if you win the case, you may be able to win the case legally, but then when it comes to your person, in terms of your reputation, it is very hard to repair. Because we live in a society where once they say you are who you are, people form all kinds of opinion about you, and it's very difficult to erase it. And there's a certain culture, there's a certain subculture that we need to do something about.
Absolutely right. I like to refer to something that you even drew my attention to.
Yes, I didn't want to raise it, but if you want to raise it, that's fine.
I mean, listen, on the 24th of February, that's about a week or so ago, we had a delegation from the Tricontinental Institute for Social Research, led by Dr. Libo, who's a fellow of the institute.
In fact, you reported yesterday.
Yes. And he's indeed the chief executive of the Guancha Syndicate. And they paid a courtesy call on the vice president. I went with this delegation. Immediately, some NPP communicators put out a statement on social media that I've been appointed a special communications advisor to the president.
Yes.
This is ridiculous in the extreme. Absolutely ridiculous. I went there with a visiting delegation. You understand? But they put it out. They made heavy weather out of it and so on. I haven't reacted. I don't care.
In fact, they are questioning.
And in any case, my brother, who appointed to his office, are they more Ghanaian than I am? Are they more qualified than I am in terms of communications and so on? What is this childish mischief? I can't understand. In any case, it is not true. There's no truth in it. I've not been offered any appointment. I've not accepted any appointment. But that's how they want to carry on with their politics. That's their headache.
I was surprised because they trended for some time. And I nearly gave you a call, but I didn't think it was necessary, so I had a change of mind. But anyway.
And some of our colleagues are involved in this. Some of this, our half-baked colleagues, our colleagues who place no value on their reputation, and engage in this, on this very network.
But what's the end game?
It's just mischief. On this very network,
yes,
one of your presenters actually spent a considerable amount of time attacking me for not speaking out against the intended privatization of ECG.
But that's not true. You've said it consistently.
Consistently.
Even on the show.
The very first day that this measure was announced, I took a position, which is not substantially different from the position I've taken all these years. Yeah. And yet a presenter. And what is interesting is that before he went on air, his production team actually got in touch with my people. Oh, and they sent them clips, video clips.
Oh, really?
Of what I've said against the privatization of ECG. And yet he went ahead and engaged in this childish, mischievous, enterprise. That's incredible. That's incredible.
We apologize. We're sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not a problem at all.
All right, so the man, Dr. Tia Kabiru, has also joined us. He is a former technical advisor to the Vice President and MP for Wale. And he's joined us. Doc, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you're doing well.
Alhamdulillah.
How's the Ramadan treating you?
Yes, this is our 4th day, right?
Yes.
So we are almost in the first half of the.
Actually, that should be our 5th day. Well, I started on Saturday.
Oh, then that makes us 2.
Yes.
We also started on Sunday.
Okay,
it's difficult shuffling between the work and then the fasting because you go home late in the night. You have to wake up early in the morning. You're sleeping at 12 and having to wake up at 4 latest.
Yes.
Then fasting and then preparing for your next day. You're basically left with some 4 hours to 5 hours of sleep.
Yes.
That's why you sometimes see some of our people sleeping in the afternoon. So, but it's a spiritual journey, and then man must not live by bread and butter alone. Man must also have the spiritual fulfillment, and that is basically what we are doing. I just want to wish my Muslims, Ummah across the country and the world, Ramadan Mubarak. And I hope at the end of this 3 months of spiritual journey and fulfillment, will come out very renewed in faith, do away with the ills, and put behind us lifestyles that do not endanger patriotism, that are not promoting of communalism, and those that are not embracing peace and unity. And once again, happy Ramadan. And also, maybe before I got my small boy, my junior brother is celebrating his birthday today.
Okay.
Rahman, Yusuf Abdurrahman, happy birthday to you. And I wish God blessing and guidance upon you as you transition to the pinnacle of your life. Thank you very much.
How are the constituents doing? Is Wale Wale predominantly are they predominantly Muslims, or what's the demographics like?
Well, so for the Wale Wale township or the constituency as a whole, they are predominantly Muslims. That's if you take the constituency in general. In Wale Wale township, we have majority of them be Muslims, but there's a very good number, I would say arguable about 40% of the people also being Christian in the Wale Wale township, but majority 60 to 65% of them are Muslims. So it's a Muslim dominated constituency. There are a few traditional African believers, and I hope that is a religion my uncle belongs to, Kwesi Pratt. There are a few African traditional believers. There are also some Christians and then Muslim, but in terms of proportion, Muslim, Christianity, and then African traditional religion.
Okay, but there are more Muslims.
There are more Muslims than Christians.
I see, and that's the... Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. That was something I wanted to ask you, but let me just because we need a lot of time to discuss several other issues. You know.
Joining the earlier discussion.
Yes. In fact, that's why I said let me just cut to the chase and come back to the Gift Oware Mensa matter. And whilst you were on your way here, Uncle Kwesi Pratt and I were having a conversation about Gift Oware Mensa. She's in town. She arrived yesterday at the airport, and I was of the view that really what has returning to Ghana, really, what's the big deal? But Uncle Kwesi Pratt had to sort of express a counter opinion. He thinks it's a big deal because she's a woman of significant interest based on the NSS scandal. I don't know where you stand on this. Do you...
Yeah, so when I was on my way, I was listening to the presentation, and I think that the issues surrounding the National Service Authority are issues of public interest. In that if someone is linked one way or the other to the whole investigation, the whole allegation, and the, if you like, allegations of financial impropriety, such a person returning to the shores of the country for the purpose of aiding investigation and bringing to closure this matter is significant. My only takeaway or take out from that is the fact that we did not need to make noise about her arrival. I don't know whether she calls for her video to be taken at the airport for it to be circulated on social media. That wasn't necessary because it is just basically trying to... I don't know why...
It is actually probable. It is likely because...
No, but why not? I mean, if you have been accused of running away from justice and so on, you want people to know that you are back in the...
And especially when you're confident that you're innocent.
Exactly.
No, the point is that
that's a very interesting
when you return, you can announce that you've returned. The special prosecutor, or if you like, the investigative,
whether NIB,
whatever, they would have reported that you have arrived in the country.
Anyway,
even you can cause your lawyer to issue a statement to the effect that I am back to the shores of the country, and that I am submitting myself to the laws of this country.
I'm available to assist
and I'm available to assist in any investigation in the process. You see, there is this tendency I'm trying to avoid where someone allegedly will engage in some malfeasance or criminal activity, and there are some people also cheering and giving moral support to say that culture is like it's within us, that you have sympathizers and well-wishers. Someone who will ordinarily go through an investigation process. You have people massing up to welcome the person at the airport and to follow the person to the investigation. There is good to have to support. Family and friends will support anyone, if you like, accused of engaging in any wrongdoing. But I'm just trying to avoid the temptation of where people would do the wrong things. I'm not by that suggesting that Gifty Owari is complicit or has done anything wrong. But I'm just trying to avoid the culture where people would then try to use the public space to wash themselves out of these alleged criminal activities, when in actual case, a simple process of walking to the investigators or investigating agencies and then submitting yourself and clearing yourself out would have helped all of us. You know, it's becoming news for us to discuss because it's like because of the nature with which it was done. If it was not done that way, I'm sure the OSP or the NIB statement would have formed the basis for us to talk about it, and from there we would have known that she has filed her statement, or she has written her statement with them. So that is the only takeaway. Otherwise, I'm happy she's back. I'm happy she has proven to people that, contrary to the perception out there that Gifty Owari was running away from justice, and that she has, and I even found that coming even in the State of the Nation address, because the statement about the president saying that some of them have tried to abscond justice and is ordering an arrest warrant, it was in reference to Gifty Owari and others the OSP has pointed to. So it being a center or it being mentioned by the president makes it something of national interest. And I think that her coming will bring to closure. She has proved to people that, look, I am not a fugitive of justice. I am not running away from my shadow. I am ready to face and take responsibility for whatever I have done within my period with the National Service Authority. And then she has lived up to the call by the former president that his appointees should not run away. They should stand and defend their actions. And that call by the former president asking the appointees or his appointees to face the law and to account for their activities, probably Gifty is one of those people who are living up to those words. And I can't just but to commend her for that. And she should submit herself. If there's a need for her to pay the price, she will pay. If she's innocent and the state has to pay for any inconvenience or if like damages, she should also demand. That is the law. The democracy was so selected and the rule of law was so selected for ourselves. Demands that all these safeguards should be there so that an innocent life will not be, destroyed or be tarnished. Reputation built over time will not be tarnished. Much as we are trying to protect your reputation, there is also the state and the interests, the collective interests of the people we need to protect. This balance is important, and I just hope that we'll do it dispassionately. My only fear is also that let us not create an existence of a problem where there is none, because because of the perception we've already created that some wrong has been done at the NSS. Sometimes we try at all costs to pin people to problem when there is none. And we try to make it a political game. I just hope that the investigators and the state agency will be professional in their dealings. They would engage in this process without politics. And at the end of the day, those found culpable would face the law. Those found innocent will be exonerated, acquitted, and discharged. And we'll be building a country, Ghana.
We just acknowledged before you came that we appear to have made some progress. I mean, back in the day where people were arrested in the Gestapo, in a Rambo style, it appears that we've made some progress. You don't want to acknowledge that?
Yeah, I think that monitoring her movement.
Okay.
Monitoring her movement.
Okay.
Okay. And
speculative, or you know this for a fact?
Well, so someone who was with her.
Okay.
Someone who was with her, I engaged her.
Okay.
To find out why there was no need to go and be taking video.
Yes.
Then she narrated all what happened and then the possibility of some national security people around.
Okay.
So it's not a speculation, but I know, but based on the story the person who was with her gave,
you didn't have any reason to doubt what the person had told you?
I have no reason to doubt. I have no reason to doubt.
Okay.
You see, Moro.
Yes, sir.
First of all, national security operatives are always at the airport.
Yeah,
always.
Fact knowledge.
Always, always. You cannot travel outside the country or come into the country without encountering them. And it is their duty to be there. The airport happens to be a very sensitive security area. So that's not a problem. Okay. The other thing for me, which is important, is that, and you remember, we all condemned the raid on Kenoforiata's house, you know, and asked important questions. I'm convinced that it was a rogue action. I'm convinced that it was a rogue action. Initially, it was attributed to the prosecutor, who has come out to deny that he had no hand whatsoever in that raid. It just happens that the raid was led by somebody from the national security establishment. It doesn't make government complicit. Otherwise, then the NPP government would also be complicit in the Yawasu West Wagon, you know, scandal. I mean, whatever happened in the Yawasu West Wagon. Because the leaders...
But obviously, remember with the Yawasu West Wagon incident, for what had happened, and even went to the extent of mentioning Richard Jakwe's name. You came here and condemned it.
Yeah, but you remember that I condemned
You condemned it.
Yes, but even beyond my condemnation, you also recognize that immediately...
I brought it up because I'm saying that then you cannot blame Kabiru, who says he is convinced. That's the point I'm making.
But even then, after Ayariga's apology, immediately, people from government came and said, on what basis are you apologizing? Did you order it? And so people from government distanced themselves from the operation. My worry is that those who carried out that raid on Kenoforiata's house have not been arrested and investigated. That's my worry. Because clearly, that matter ought to be investigated. And we ought to take measures which will become a deterrent for persons who in the future may decide to raid your house, his house, or my house.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I don't think that it had any merit. That raid had any merit whatsoever.
You sound disappointed.
Well, we were told that there was a warrant. And the question that I asked was that, what kind of warrant was it? Was it a court warrant? What kind of warrant was it? We need to know all of these facts, you understand? But I think that raid on Kenoforiata's house was absolutely reckless, unwarranted, and in the final analysis, did not help anybody at all.
Okay. Doc, you are an economist, and I don't think your competence is in doubt at all. I mean, you have spoken variously on and severally on matters that borders on economy. I mean, it is no surprise that you worked at the office of the Vice President as one of his technical advisors. So the matters about the economy is back on the front burner. And it is so because of State of the Nation address, which typically has become a State of the Economy address. I don't know why it is so, but it's become what it is. State of the Nation address, and then, of course, the minorities presser on the State of the Nation address, which they call the fourth State of the Nation address. We also are aware that there's a national economic dialogue, which is supposed to bring all brains to the table to chart a new path on how we can restructure this economy and make it better and to better our lot. So if you look at the New Crusading Guide today, government will implement key policy recommendations from economic dialogue. And the story here says that Emmanuel Opong, who's a reporter with the New Crusading Guide, says that the government has reaffirmed its commitment to structural reforms and private sector-driven growth, pledging to implement key policy recommendations from the 2025 National Economic Dialogue. The two-day dialogue, which centered on six priority areas, including macroeconomic stability, outlined a strategic roadmap for achieving long-term economic to us, or you've given us. Our promise is to collaborate with all sectors and sections of Ghana to ensure that we deliver a homework worthy of an A. Indeed, that's a professor talking. Now, I want to juxtapose or tie this with a very, very disturbing story as published by today's Insight newspaper. And I'm sure when I'm done, you both would understand where I'm coming from. So cocoa farms under threat. Over 30,000 hectares destroyed by Galamsey, sand mining others. And he has a picture of the former host of the show, Dr. Randy Abbey, who's now with Cocoa Board as a CEO. He says Ghana's cocoa is under siege as illegal small-scale mining, felling of timber and sand mining activities have destroyed over 30,000 hectares of cocoa farms nationwide. As of December 2024, Dr. Randy Abbey, the Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, who made this known during a day's conference for members of Parliament in Accra, said another 50,000 hectares of cocoa farms were at risk of destruction. Illegal small-scale mining is ultimately diminishing the land under cultivation, output levels and incomes of cocoa farmers. Dr. Abbey stated, the CEO of Cocoa Board indicated that because of the impact of illegal mining on cocoa farms, Japan and the European Union will, from September this year, test Ghana's cocoa beans to ascertain whether they contain heavy metals. Because of that, Dr. Abbey said Cocoa Board had decided to set up a state-of-the-art laboratory at the Quality Control Center in Tema to test Ghana's cocoa beans to ascertain whether there are any traces of heavy metals before being packaged for export. Dr. Abbey announced plans by Cocoa Board to table the Economic Protection Act, which is the ARFCD 47 of 1979, to amend the law to tackle the incidence of felling of cocoa trees. The amendment would make the law more punitive and ensure that those who fell cocoa trees without justifiable reasons receive severe punishment and heavy fines. Currently, he said, cocoa provides direct jobs to 2 million Ghanaians and additional 5 million indirect jobs. So earlier, Mr. Emmanuel Kofi-Boah, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, in his address said the government would support MPs to lead the charge in their constituents, to mobilize their constituents, to form community mining cooperatives to engage in proper mining. So here we are. Cocoa, one of our biggest export earners. If you second to gold now, we're told, currently. This is what it is facing, the threats it is facing. But generally speaking, state of the nation, national economic dialogue, and what the Insight newspaper is reporting today. Uncle, see, whether you want to start or I should, Doc. Whichever way. That's fine. No, Uncle, see, no. Let me start. Oh, let me start. Okay, Dr. Kabir, please.
I don't mind. Yeah, so State of the Nation address, like we all say, and rightly so, is the president is injuncted. The president is mandated. The president is enjoined by the Constitution, Article 67, to present the State of the Nation address. This is our own version of the State of Union address in line with the United States Constitution, Article 2, Section 3. And it provides that the president, from time to time, annually, if you like, at least, to come and then address the people of Ghana, now through their representatives, the Parliament of Ghana.
Yeah.
The president did that on Thursday and put out a certain picture of the economy. And because the issues that will be put up by the president are debatable, that's why sometimes we come, the minority will have to also come and give what we believe, or what any minority believes that is the true state of the economy, in contradistinction to what the president would have presented. The president gave a picture of the economy, and you ask a question, why will the State of the Nation address be reduced to economy? Because the economy is everything.
Yeah.
When we say state economy has issues with education, infrastructure, social services, health, security. Everything is about the economy. And that is why when it is reduced, the economy is understandable so. But when we say economy, sometimes they also limit it to the macroeconomic indicators, i.e. performance of our group, performance of, that is the macroeconomic indicators, general so put. But that is just a subsection of the whole economy. When the president is expected to talk about everything. But because you measure your whole health of the economy by macroeconomic, and that's why sometimes you find that we reduce it to economic analysis. But State of the Nation address is far wide, and the net is cast wide wider than that of the macroeconomy. Now, the president made certain statements which the minority obviously would disagree. We disagree because when you are given a State of the Nation address, even the most objective mind will not spare themselves of criticisms, even if they come with the best of objectivity in the analysis. But this is a political platform for the president, who had just come out of an election, to present the State of the Nation address. He had told the good people of Ghana certain ills about the government. There is that tendency to reinforce those words he were, I mean, as it were, he was putting out when he was the presidential candidate for a political party. So because of that tendency, we have the feeling that the president sometimes skew the analysis to paint the picture he also wants to present to the good people of Ghana. But one would expect that such an analysis would be all-encompassing, would be broad enough to cover every essential thing, would be objective enough to acknowledge the good and the bad, would be candid enough to carry the good people of Ghana along, and would be reassuring enough to put trust in the investor community. This is a balance, world balance, I mean, a strike of balance of a State of a Nation address that people would expect from this president. But the president came on Thursday and painted only a gloomy picture of the economy. And you remember, before the State of the Nation address, the communication director had calls to state that they had discovered that things were terribly bad than they had anticipated. So, coming on that premises, the president couldn't have stated anything but to reinforce that particular position the communicators had gone to town with. And if you look at things, as a matter of fact, the president did not inherit an economy or a state of affairs that was terribly bad than we have experienced, especially on the back of COVID and the height of the problem. The president received an economy that has most of the problems weathered down. We are not out of the woods, and people are still suffering. Ghana is still battling with debt. I mean, education is still having a problem. Road infrastructures are not yet fixed. All of it are not yet fixed. Security is still a problem. But the president inherited an economy that is far better than it was at the height of the problems. And that was the expectation of some of us in the minority, that the president will come acknowledging that, look, this country has got, since the Great Depression, was hit by a catastrophe that has never been imagined. The Ghanaian people, due to that crisis, were visited with untold hardship that the Ghanaian people had to endure. The government had to put in the most difficult measures of debt exchange program, where hard-earned investment of people were, in fact, if you like, taken away from them. These are reality. That notwithstanding, those decisions have led to an improvement in our situation, i.e. our inflation situation has improved, even though we are not out of the woods yet, because an inflation rate of 23.5% is still not good, because we want to do a single-digit inflation. That is still 72% of GDP, but it is better than the 104 we are having at a point, or the 80% we are having at a point. We'll still do something about it. We still feel that the government has recorded 3 surpluses for the first time. That is good initiative, but we want to improve and consolidate that. You need to tell the good people that the fiscal deficit recorded was not in line with the IMF program, but it was better. We will do to make sure that we post in the short to medium term a negative deficit, or if you like, primary balance of. This is what the State of the Nation address, in my reasonable expectation, should tell the good people of Ghana. You should be bold enough to tell the good people that, look, Agenda 111 was an ambitious program. If I were the president, I would not embark on all those projects. But that said, the government have initiated some of them, and some of them are at different level of completion. I will complete A, B, C, D. And also acknowledge, apart from Agenda 111, the government had constructed from start to finish some 16 new hospitals. This is a balanced State of the Nation address. But if the president comes with only a picture that our debt was so staggering, and that even the IMF program did not put restraint on the economic managers from mismanaging the economy, then before that, the president had mentioned that the economy was criminally mismanaged. Those comments are not presidential. And you know, there's a reason why Article 67 of the Constitution titled that as presidential message. When you go to the Constitution, it is titled Presidential Message. The President's message to the country must be presidential. And that was the part that was lacking. The President highlighted some initiatives, and I believe that they are also good for the country. He mentioned about the 1 million coders program. He mentioned about poultry to the table program. He mentioned about the vegetable development project. He mentioned about the green development project as a way of ensuring that we are self-food sufficient. That was something good the President mentioned. The President mentioned a lot about our educational system, where he intends to introduce regional TV centers. The President also mentioned how they intend to use the drip machines that were acquired by the previous government to ensure that they are put to good use. All this, in my estimation, in my imagination, would contribute to the development of the country. The only fear I have was that the President has only 4 years. And if government is a continuum, my belief is that some of which the foundation is going to be laid for the incoming government to continue. And that was the expectation, that he needed to acknowledge that a certain foundation has been laid by his predecessor, because you expect your successor to come and build and to acknowledge some of the good things you have done. So I sincerely feel that the President cannot finish all what he promised to have done in the State of the Nation in 4 years. Because, mind you, we are left with 3 years, some 10 months. His budget is yet to be presented and approved. That will make the government have only 3 years to perform. The rest will be reduced to national politics and campaigning. So the President has 3 years within which to perform. And sometimes I feel like, not just this President, I feel that all our presidents have been too ambitious in our approach. We don't fix small things and making sure that we do that consistently to build a country. We go for the grandiose kind of activities, and at the end of the day, we may not finish all of them. So that was the only bit. And also the fact that the President failed, or whether it was deliberate or it was an oversight, to acknowledge the President did not comment about his plan on ensuring that this promise I had made to the good people of Ghana, how am I going to ensuring that that is fulfilled. The President also failed to, acknowledge how free senior high school education was relevant and how the measures he was taking, except to promise that the free senior high school has come to stay. As to how we will fund it, as to how we will do it, probably he was given the benefit of doubt to the finance minister to come and complete that tax for him. So aside these minuses that the President could have, there were something areas the President was, he zigs when he should be zagging. And I think that that didn't really help in the whole discourse. But you see, the minority following this presentation had to present our version of the State of the Nation. The one would ask, why would the minority always have to submit a State of the Nation? Because there's only one true State of the Nation address. That is the one enjoined by the 1996 Constitution, Article 67. But that State of the Nation address, that is legally recognized, sometimes is fraught with misrepresentation, distortion, embellishment, and propaganda-laced statements. So when you have that State of the Nation address, which is supposed to be the true, the legally accepted, and then, if you like, procedural accepted State of the Nation address, but there is no safeguard to ensure that the President stay within limits and present a fair and balanced picture to the good people of Ghana, there is that need for the minority, which has always had the oversight responsibility over the executive, even though that role is for the whole of Parliament to do, to present a State of the Nation address, to highlight things the President refused to highlight, to expose any, if you like, hypocrisy, 721 billion. That is the analysis we do. But an academic, a serious-minded person will say that, okay, if we're having 127 billion in 2017 or 2016, what is the present value term of that money? Even without doing anything. It is not going to be 127 billion. But you are measuring my current value, which is the present value term, against a discounted value, which was around 8 years ago. So the minority has a responsibility of exposing this weakness
in the analysis of the president in terms of the debt figures, and that was basically what we did. The president, we had to expose the deficiency in the argument of the president in the interest of inflation. You made the point that, look, inflation is bad, 23%, and we did not even perform IMF target of 18%, but the president refused to read the complete document of the IMF, which also states that inflation could go as high as 23%. And that's what is upper and the lower band of inflation. That was another hypocrisy dishonesty we had to expose in the president's statement. The president created a sense that we borrow so much, but we've not done anything. But reference will be made to Pokwasi, reference will be made to flower interchange, reference will be made to Tema, reference will be made to PTC, reference will be made to Tamale Airport, reference will be made to Tamale interchange. All these were projects done with the loan taken. Reference was made to over 13,000 kilometers of roads constructed, even though they trivialized it by saying that it included postal pattern. When you are calculating the network of roads being done, you use the kilometer of work, either work on as new roads or the roads improved. And that was what they did in their 10, and they have 4,000 kilometers of road. So if you are using the same metric and we're having 13 kilometers of road, the president needed to acknowledge that the metric has never changed. It has been the metric the road minister has always been using, and that's what we got. So all this misrepresentation, embellishment by the president, and distortion of fact needed to be put forward for the Ghanaian people to understand and appreciate the position of the president. That said, the economy is run by certain sectors. You cannot run economy by monetary policy alone. Real sector interventions are key and crucial to delivering the social good, delivering the economic good, and delivering the political good in terms of the stability of the country. Because if your economy is not good, peace and security will be endangered, and the revolution. My uncle is a revolutionarist. They will ask people to go to the street and demand that good thing is being done. So the health of the economy is important.
Please, the man has retired.
He has retired. Okay, a retired revolutionary.
The man has retired.
So that
he says the young one should take over. Let's
then I'll come for his beret so that I can wear it. So that is necessary.
Right.
So the real sector, one of it is the cocoa. And if you realize the cocoa was one of our major foreign exchange earner, and Dr. Randy Abbey, just that I'm not so happy that he's gone there and he has not given us any chocolate so far. There was World Chocolate Day. He never remembered to give him a chocolate. And that said, we'll sort it out after the program. But the cocoa sector is make a product, and the product is widely paid, considering testing to find whether there are some metallic substances in our cocoa. It's understandable.
Before you go ahead, so is the chocolate you're talking about produced in Japan?
It's produced in Japan.
I see.
And that is the beans. That's
because of Ghana's
reputation. So they're cashing in on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they cash on that.
I see.
Yeah. So I understand why Japan will take measures to ensure that our cocoa beans do not contain metallic substances, and many other countries will do same. Even before that, they were concerned by the EU whether or not we are not using child labor.
Yeah.
In the production of cocoa. All these are concerns in line with international best practice and safeguards. And I think that we have to do something about that. I'm not sure whether the proposal for the amendment is the best solution, because the decision to cut down cocoa trees and use the land for galamsey, cocoa trees are not public. It's an economic crop, but they are not public, if you like, properties. They are not public property in the sense that government is not the one, unlike in jurisdiction like in Cote d'Ivoire, where it seems to be like the government has control over cocoa farming. These are initiatives done by the cocoa farmers with the independence to grow cocoa or not to grow cocoa. Government only incentivizes cocoa farmers to have the will to go into the cocoa production. We should be looking at that regime, whether or not government will have to take several hectares of land and designate those lands as government or cocoa areas where we can have reliable supply of cocoa. Anyone coming into that particular bank or land bank will be farming cocoa without any encroachment. Maybe those initiatives could be tinkered with and to see whether they are workable. And to make sure that we give cocoa farmers the premium to incentivize them. The incentive, economic incentive drive people. If I realize that people are making gold and my cocoa trees are sitting under gold. I mean, gold is beneath my cocoa trees. There's that incentive. And several farmers have complained where they have to give out their farmlands to to galamseys, say yes to go into the galamsey activity. So I think that regime. This morning I read an article where there was Joy News has been reporting, and several other media outlets have been reporting, where there is this report of galamsey activities happening by NDC officials, and they are resistant. And this report was Otek Ofem. And the NDC officials are resisting the seizure of galamsey equipment as government team forces hostile reactions. This story, for instance, it just appears that when there's a change of government, another set of galamsey operators emerge, aligned to political parties, such that the incentive of that political party to fight those people who are destroying our farmlands, who are destroying our ecosystem, who are destroying our water bodies, that incentive is really dead because they feel that they are parties in power. And this is a golden opportunity for us to say that enough of the politics of the galamsey. Whosoever is found engaged in it, let the law take its own course. And I'll be so happy that for the first time, and Mr. John Mahama has the golden opportunity to do that. Reason being that he's not seeking any re-election. Maybe I'm not preempting, but he is not entitled for now to have a re-election. Okay, and if he's so minded to change the economy, to change the country, and to do the right things, this is a golden opportunity for him to do it. Okay. Because there is no impediment, there is no future election ahead of him, even though the NDC as a party is a vehicle, but he could decide to make the name for himself and leave the legacy that the Ghanaian people would remember him for. So, cocoa sector is one, gold export is another, even though that is also under threat. People are not trying to buy gold because if they are coming from galamsey activity, they will not buy. But the illegal and smuggle of gold will continue if that is not happening. But the gold board, I don't know how that is going to operate, whether it's going to be different from the gold purchase program or the program instituted by the government and PMC as a gold purchase program. That is probably what they are modernizing to be the gold board. If that's the how are the safeguards to ensure that we maximize the potentials of our mineral resources? That has to be looked at. And then agriculture is another real sector, just like cocoa. We have to look at how do we diversify our export. Non-traditional export should be encouraged. Whilst we feed the country with the local and grain and then vegetables, we have the potential to feed Europe with vegetables. With the construction of Terminal Airport, it is a huge opportunity for us. But we need to look at that and see how we would. Jobs creation is another. And
so you have all these fine ideas, and yet you boycotted the National Economic Dialogue. Dr. Kabiru, why?
Where are the fine ideas?
Well, but I can't say they are bad ideas, Uncle Kwesi.
You wait, I'll get my tea.
You're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro TV. I'm here with Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who's the managing editor of the Insight newspaper, and also Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama, who is the former technical advisor to the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Biba. This show, as I indicated earlier, is live on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, Good Morning Ghana, you can watch the show live. So tell a friend to tell a friend. You can also watch us live on Metro TV Ghana. That's on Facebook. Again, on YouTube, you can watch us on Metro TV Ghana. You can also go on DSTV 277 and watch Good Morning Ghana. Please stay with us.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready poor mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me.
It is part of the mattress we did it from there.
Yeah?
Happiness mattress where the dead for.
Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like ash foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
In an era where fire safety is paramount, Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited stands out as a leader in the development of innovative fire dousing solutions. With a focus on aqueous film forming foam, the company provides a cutting-edge product that significantly enhances fire suppression capabilities across various sectors, including maritime, industrial, and emergency response.
The oil and gas sector, along with chemical manufacturing facilities and fire services.
Kabori's advanced film technology offers a more efficient and environmentally responsible alternative.
Kabori is recognized for its superior extinguishing capabilities and prolonged resistance to reignition. Kabori's product is certified by the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Standards Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Nigerian Standards Organization.
Kabori Film Compound Limited is situated in Nsawam within the eastern region of Ghana. For inquiries, reach out to them on 0245-885-288 or 0244-514-048. You may also contact them via email at info@kaborifilm.com. Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited, providing film compound solutions to health institutions.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know. Tonight.
Attention all farmers, are you ready to take your crops to the next level? Introducing 3 effective organic composts that will revolutionize your farming practices. ACAP, KCAP and IRICOP brings to you the ultimate solution for your fertilizer needs. Introducing the ACAP Grade A, KCAP Equiafua Jinkwa, and the IRICOP with cocoa blends, palm blend and mulch. These are made from locally sourced municipal solid waste, and these are the perfect choice for sustainable farming. Join the organic revolution today. Boost your crop yield, improve soil health, and support sustainable farming practices. Choose ACAP, KCAP, and IRICOP organic compost for a greener and bountiful harvest. For your purchase and more information, call the numbers on your screen. Our products are endorsed by COCOBOD, Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
You're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. I'm here with Mr. Kwesi Prass Jr., who's the managing editor of the Insight newspaper, and also Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama, who is a former technical advisor at the office of the Vice President, former Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bami, and also the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. Now, my name is Audu Moro. We're having a conversation on the back of the State of the Nation address and also the National Economic Dialogue, which ended yesterday with this, a communique which we are still expecting to get a copy of, but most of which were read at the event yesterday.
Mm-hmm. This is as reported by the Daily Statesman of today. Listen. A former Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, has attributed Ghana's current exchange rate stability to the substantial international reserves led by the Akufo-Addo administration. And it goes on and on and on. My brother, we are talking about exchange rate stability today? Shocking. Why? You took over at a time when the dollar rate was 3.4 to 1. 3.4 cedis to $1. Today the rate is 16 cedis to $1. And you're telling us about exchange rate stability. As if words don't mean anything. Exchange rate stability from 3.4 to $1 to 16 to $1. And we are talking about exchange rate stability. It's just completely baffling. Look, we've come to the point where, according to Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta before he exited office, we needed 128% of total national revenue for 3 line items: debt servicing, debt repayment, and public sector emoluments. That's a bankrupt state. So where is the resurgence in the economy? This is the state of the economy, and this state of the economy can only be referred to as bankrupt. You understand? Now, my brother here, the Honorable MP, has spoken about the cocoa industry. Today, as we sit here, cocoa production has declined by about 60%. About 60%. How can anybody describe this economy as robust when at the same time we claim that cocoa is the mainstay of the national economy? 60% of production has been lost. So how can you make this claim? Now, for ordinary Ghanaians, for Ghanaians, and normal Ghanaians and so on, if they are to judge the state of the economy and they use their own lives, to judge the state of the economy, what conclusion can they come to? Every price of every item has escalated, in some cases by as much as 1,000%. And then you tell us about the state of the economy and so on. You took over when a ball of kenke was 50 pesos.
Hey.
Yes, 50 pesos. You left office when the same ball of kenke was 5 cedis. And you're telling us about a resilient economy that we left. What resilient national economy? My brother, check. Most of our state enterprises are heavily indebted. Heavily indebted. Most of the state enterprises. So heavily indebted. In one instance, if all of its assets were sold, it could still not pay for the debt. Is this the health of the economy that we should be proud of, and so on? I don't understand what is happening. You mentioned Galamsey much earlier. Look at the devastation that Galamsey has caused. Unbelievable devastation. Some blame Galamsey for the decline in cocoa production, which is around 60%. Okay? But beyond that, look at the medical reports that we are getting. The children who are being born without limbs, children who are being born blind, and so on, as a result of pollution by Galamsey. You handled this economy for 8 long years and ended up with this level of devastation. We can't even get water to drink now. In the Western region, many water plants have been shut down because there's nothing that the water authorities can do in order to continue to provide drinkable, potable water for the population. This is the state of the nation that you left. You understand? The state of the nation which you left had a power sector indebtedness of $2.5 billion. And the argument that they put up is that, oh, when we came, the debt level was still 2.5, and we are living at 2.5. That's your achievement. And that if we had not stayed in power for 8 years, the debt level would have exceeded 2.5. What a thing to say. You understand? And then, surprisingly, today, the current government, which is less than 2 months in office, is being blamed for doomsor. Incredible. I can't believe it. You remember that before the government came into power, we were experiencing these same power outages. I want any Ghanaian to tell me that before this government came into power, we were not experiencing power outages. We were definitely experiencing power outages. In fact, the independent power producers were threatening to shut their plants and so on. Is this the economy we should be proud about? What is this? And of course, when the new government came, you had Mr. Abu Jinapor, the current Minister of Energy, and his analysis of the situation. John Jinapor. Yeah, John Jinapor. And so on. We heard it. So please, save us all this noise. Save us all this noise. It is time for all of us as Ghanaian people to get our wheels to the shoulder, our shoulders to the wheel, not the other way around, our shoulders to the wheel, and try and find a way out of this crisis. We are boasting about an inflation rate of 23%. My goodness, we shouldn't go there. Until recently, the inflation rate was hovering around 50-something%. The rate of inflation was hovering around 50-something%.
In 2022.
Yes, under this same administration. Okay? I listened to the National Economic Dialogue. I can't quite remember the name of this gentleman, but there's a Dr. something who spoke after Dr. Yamson's presentation.
Oh, Dr. Amoa.
Dr. Amoa, yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's called Dr. Amoa.
And he made a very interesting point. That look, of all the loans and grants we are getting from the IMF and so on, that quantity of money we are getting is not even sufficient to pay for the power sector subsidy. Yeah. It's not sufficient to pay for the power sector subsidy alone. So we have to rethink the economy and stop this grand, standing and these press conferences which mean absolutely nothing. You understand? Listen, Ghana today is the largest producer of gold in Africa. The largest producer of gold in Africa. Ghana today is the 5th largest producer of gold in the world. What have we got to show for it? What have we got to show for it? You understand? Botswana took a very sensible step. Botswana's main export was diamonds. And like us, they were not benefiting substantially from the export of diamonds and so on. So what did they do? The government decided to set up a diamond marketing mechanism within Botswana. So Botswana's diamonds were not traded outside Botswana. That gave the Botswana economy a big lift within a very short time. What happens to our gold? What happens to the gold that we mine? Incredible. You understand? Now, until recently, until about a year ago, 2 years ago, Niger was rated as the 3rd worst economy in the world, not in Africa, in the world. 3rd worst economy in the world. In less than 2 years, Niger now has gained the status of the fastest growing economy in the world. Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. Look at the extent to which their GDP has grown. Their GDP has grown by more than $2 billion per annum. You understand? And then our leaders are sitting here in ECOWAS and so on, complaining about what is happening in those countries and threatening to go and to overthrow those countries when those countries are doing much better than us under their current dispensation. I think it's time for us to wake up. You understand? For me, clearly, the prescription for national economic development and so on clearly is quite old. The healthy prescription for national economic development is quite old. And I'd like to go back to 1945 at the Fifth Congress of the Pan-African Congress. They laid out a blueprint for our development, clear. Key points: attain national independence, which is have national sovereignty and protect it. Have control, ownership and control of your natural resources and exploit these national resources for the benefit of the working people of Africa. Clear formula. That formula is still there. That formula is still the only way forward for Africa and its people. It can't change. In this country, we've had glorious moments. There were moments where we were not importing all the rubbish that we now import. Now we import so much that even drinking water, if you go to the supermarkets, you find drinking water which is imported.
Yeah, true.
If you go to the supermarket, you find toothpick which is imported. If you go to a supermarket or even on the street, you find imported handkerchiefs. What does it take to produce handkerchiefs and so on? So under Nkrumah, there was this import substitution program which led to the establishment of more than 600 state enterprises producing virtually everything that we need. Handkerchiefs, car glasses, deep freezers and refrigerators, television sets, and so on. We're producing all of those items here. Since the coup of 1966, all of these 600 state enterprises have been destroyed, completely destroyed, except 2. Out of 600, only 2 are still surviving. We need to go back to the original blueprint. You understand? If you read the 7-year development program of the Osadifo regime, the Nkrumah regime, and so on, it appreciated that, look, at a certain stage in our development, we're going to need to jack up power production. And that is why, in addition to the Akosomo Dam and so on, they also had what they call the mini hydro projects, where all the rivers in this country were to be dammed and used for irrigation and the generation of power. That program has not been implemented up to today. You understand? In addition to that, the Nkrumah government clearly knew that we would have at some point to have nuclear generation of power. And that is why by February 1966, they had already entered into an agreement with the Soviet Union to produce nuclear power. That agreement was thrown over the board, after the coup. Today, we are going back to negotiate for nuclear generation of power. Doesn't make sense. If you go into the area of agriculture, currently the experts tell us that post-harvest losses, especially for the grains, is about 30%. One of the remedies is radiation. The plant which Nkrumah brought into this country to help the nuclear scientists and so on, protect our agricultural produce and so on, was sold to the U.S. after the coup. We packed it and sent it to the U.S. after the coup and so on. So let's stop this gimmicks, this State of the Nation address and real State of the Nation address and those press conferences which tell us absolutely nothing, and focus on the fundamental causes of our problem and address them. You understand? We should focus on the fundamental problems and address them. Right now, this true State of the Nation address, one of the things which was done was to criticize the incoming administration for borrowing, in their words, I think 60 billion cedis.
67 billion cedis.
In their words. Master, if you leave office at a time when you can't pay public sector emoluments, by your own admission, at a time when debt servicing had been suspended and so on, at a time when the power sector is virtually on its knees because of overbearing debt and so on. How do you expect the new administration to continue?
In fact,
how do you expect the new administration to continue? Master, we should stop.
Felix Kwache, who is the Minister of State in charge of government communications, came out to explain that the 67 billion which was borrowed was retire maturing debt. So really, it's not. It doesn't add to the public debt. You know, you guys have always rolled over. We've always rolled over. Sorry, you know, politicians have always rolled over maturing debt, and so really, he said it wasn't anything new. But speaking of Galamsey, we have an apology to render, and an unqualified and an unconditional one indeed. It's about, there was this video a gentleman called Comrade Sharp put out some time back last year, and our social media team, it was in the wake of this whole fight against Galamsey, and our social media team made a mistake. They took that video and played it and put it out there, creating the false impression that it was a new phenomenon or it was a new occurrence. And so the gentleman got upset and went on social media and said he did this Galamsey video in 2024, but Metro TV today is using it as a propaganda tool against the last minister. It is just nothing like that. We don't do propaganda here. The social media team aired. It's as simple as possible. It's as simple as that. And we sincerely and unreservedly apologize for that. I mean, they had no ill motive, nothing of a sort. They didn't have any ulterior motive. It's a mistake, simpliciter, and we sincerely apologize for that. So, Comrade Sharp, we're sorry for what has happened. And then we pulled it down as a responsible media house. And then another gentleman goes on social media. One, Idris Useidu, goes on social media to say that we had been ordered by government or some powers. This is what he said. Metro TV was allegedly ordered by some powerful government official. That's also not true. Nobody can order Metro TV to do. No government official who can order Metro TV to do their work the way they deem it fit. It never happens, and it will never happen here at Metro Television. It's all about editorial discretion. We exercise that editorial discretion to the best of our ability. Yeah, sometimes we'll get it wrong, but it doesn't mean that we're being influenced by some external forces. That never happens here. And so, for me, the most important thing is that we're sorry for putting it out, for putting that misinformation out there. We would make sure that that never happens again. So, what's his name again? Comrade Sharp. Once again, we are sorry. We'll put it down. So it's as simple as that. Look,
yeah,
please
so
come in.
Few comments.
Yeah.
The last one being the borrowing. The problem with us is that when you bastardize something so much, and you go on to say that if economy is just about borrowing money, then everyone can manage an economy. This is a statement you go out making, and then you tell the good people of Ghana you have the solutions to manage and to move away from borrowing, excessive borrowing. Then less than 2 months in power, you are borrowing 67 billion. That clearly would raise eyebrows. Now, the justification, unfortunate justification, is that when you come to power without anything, what do you expect? It's not true that emoluments were not paid. As a matter of fact, we approved expenditure in advance of appropriation, 68 billion for the government. No emolument of any public sector worker was withheld. As a matter of fact, outstanding arrears for school feeding program, among other debt, were paid. So it cannot be true that they were certain, if you like, recurrent expenditure or goods and services that were outstanding, the government did not. Again, you go to borrow 6 billion in your in the first month or in the first week, about when January revenue alone is 6 billion, average of 6 billion monthly revenue, government is supposed to have some 3 billion with the government. That is one. Two, the government left some buffers for you. That money was around 3 billion. That is money left for you.
The government has some proceeds in the Eurobond proceeds account, the IMF extended credit facility account. Aside that, every single account, public account, was wiped clean by this government. As a matter of fact, recently, even as even the poorest of institutions, the National Film Authority, recently complained that their account as well was wiped clean. So if a government goes around cleaning accounts, that every single penny found in any public account is taken away, and up to now, the government has not come to account to the good people of Ghana through my exercise, through my operation, through my desperation to gather more money to satisfy goods and services and other obligations expected of me by the Ghanaian people. I was able to realize A, B, or C, or Z amount from that exercise. I think such a government cannot be claimed of having nothing, because money, we know there are some institutions, public agencies, who have a lot of money because they were not spending in accordance with the amount appropriated to them due to procurement challenges, among other factors. You went and then cleaned all those accounts, virtually swept all accounts. As a matter of fact, they mopped those accounts. It wasn't even sweeping, because sweeping, there can still be some dust left by way of revenue. This government mopped those accounts and took away every single penny in those accounts. Such a government hasn't accounted to the good people of Ghana after 2 months of such an adventure or such an exercise. That government cannot complain that they did not have any money, aside what we know as of certainty, because based on data available to the Minister of Finance as they were leaving office, money that was in their coffers. So it cannot be true that the government came and met nothing. It's true of the fact that there are some maturing debts in the T-bill sector that government has to meet. But that's always been the part of government. When they borrow, when they said that we borrow so much from the domestic debt, was it meant for what? It was meant for the 122 billion, some of which were maturing. As a matter of fact, because of the longevity of our tenor, almost every single loan that was contracted by the previous Muhammad Mills administration were paid by this government. Because if you have a loan agreement ranging for 5 years, maturity in 10 years, it is your next government that's going to pay it. So those money we are seeing also borrowing, some of it was also used to pay those loans, but they were accounted as part of the borrowing of the government. There was no technical term like net borrowing. Now they are now trying to introduce into the financial lexicons and wanting us to accept saying that this is net borrowing, we have only increased. In any case, if your net borrowing is positive, it means you are adding to the debt stock. That's what it means. So aside the fact that you are taking money to pay maturing debt or maturing T-bills, you are also adding to the debt stock. At this rate, every single day the government borrows 1.2 billion Ghana cedi. At this rate, imagine, by the time we finish the year, how much the government would have borrowed from the domestic market. There's even this, which my colleague Gideon Boko even noted on the floor of Parliament yesterday. There's even this mismatch between the rate they are borrowing in the T-bill market, and if you juxtapose that with that of the monetary policy rate as well as the inflation rate. If your T-bill rate is 19% and your inflation rate is 23%, which commercial bank will go to give you money that the value on that returns is far lesser than the value, the price of goods and services? For instance, average increase in price of goods and services, the value of your money is 23%. I mean, the rate of which prices of goods and services increases is 23%. Your monetary policy rate is 27%. Always, the treasury bill rate will have to fall in between, a mid or average between these two particular figures. But they have their figure low. It is either because some people had their money locked up in their cupboard, excess liquidity. They were not with the banking sector or somewhere. They were locked up in their bank and they are bringing it out. Because they now know, okay, elections are over, there is no chaos in the country, and we are the possibility of us sending our money, sending our money abroad is not more there, so we'll give it to the government. That possibility is there, but will you sell the money lesser than the market value? That is an issue that the central bank probably will have to come and explain. If there's any manipulation of the rate, If it's not, well and good. But I have never seen, and if you look at the trajectory of the financial, if you like, the money market, how money is traded, and whether the discount rate or interest rate on their treasury bill, that rate is abnormal. We are raising questions, and our duty is to get the right questions asked and the answers provided. It is not also a point of fact that power sector debt was, as we said, this government came to power with a debt. Government spent $6.2 billion to keep the lights on. It wasn't that the debt was not being serviced. It was not the case that the debt was not being serviced. As a matter of fact, every single contractor arrangement that was put forward by the previous government was either take or pay. And excess capacity alone was costing us at a point $8 billion, excess capacity. But the PURC pricing regime, excess capacity, someone has to pay for it. The consumer doesn't pay for excess capacity. No consumer, because PURC will not allow you to factor into the utility pricing arrangement power that has not been consumed. But there you have an agreement signed by the previous government that says that
this 8 billion excess capacity that the MPP communicators have been talking about. Alasan Sweeney has asked several times the MP for Tamale North to show us evidence of it. Till today, we still haven't seen that evidence.
The government provides evidence unless Alasan Sweeney is trying not to accept that evidence. They have been questioning even the issue of excess capacity. That has been their first point of call. That there's no excess capacity. Where is the excess capacity?
Yes.
But in the books,
it's been in contention.
Yeah, in the books of the ministry, and I'm sure now that they're in government, I wonder if they will come and tell us there's extra capacity payment. In any case, if there's no even excess capacity payment, forex losses alone is putting a huge toll on the debt burden of. One could ask, now who caused them? Right? I mean, genuinely so. Okay. But if you have your utility, no independent power producer prices of their products in cedi. They are all in dollars. So anytime there is variation, someone has to pay for it. And the government pays for that. So if that government was able to keep at least the power sector debt to reduce marginally from the time they took it and kept the power on for 8 years, that government cannot be condemned for creating mess in the power sector. At least they kept the debt level to even be reduced sustainably. And mind you, it is not in cedi, it is in dollar. That amount of exposure, about the 2.9 billion of exposure that the energy sector was exposed to, in today's term, is going to be higher in Ghana cedi than it was then in Ghana cedi. Because then they were using an exchange rate of around 4%. Now they'll be using something 4.5, 14.5 or 15. Definitely, it is the same debt as left, and it has even been reduced marginally, but this government will be blamed for leaving huge debt because the exchange rate depreciation. So it cannot be true. That government must be commended for at least keeping our debt in fixed terms constant and even reducing it by a marginal amount, and again, keeping our lights on. You can't come to power and start giving excuses that you are not responsible for the doomsday. When the NPP was in power and there was doomsday, they were called upon to fix it. The government's responsibility is to fix doomsday. Whether you are 1 month in office, 1 day in office, 2 weeks in office, your responsibility is to fix it. Wherever you are going to get money, just like the previous government got money to fix it, fix it. I will allow for the benefit of.
But the president.
I will allow for the benefit of governance that. I will allow for the benefit of governance that intermittent power outages cannot be done away with. Once in a while it will be done. But just like the MPP government, it was there, and we are complaining on this same platform. Anyone who spoke against it should be speaking against it now. Anyone who had problem with intermittent power outages when MPP was in power should have problem now. You cannot all of a sudden not to have problem with such.
Of course.
And now trying to rationalize why they should be forgiven. Because that was a problem then. People had to pay for it. People had to take the fall for it. This same government must take responsibility. You cannot then all of a sudden try to have rationalization and justification for whatever wrongs is being occasioned. We'll give them the honeymoon. But this is not a country that can afford the luxury of time to lead us to go on honeymoon. Because our problems are daunting. Our problems are daunting.
There's a problem.
No, there's not a problem. There's not a problem. No, there's no problem.
There's a problem.
There's no problem.
You are in power for 8 years. And you are criticized for being in power for 8 years and not being able to solve problems. There's a new administration which is there for 2 weeks. You say, use the same yardstick to judge them. They've been in power for 2 weeks. How does that make sense?
No. That is not the point I'm
making. How does that make sense?
That's not the point I'm making.
You are saying that those who criticize your administration must use the same yardstick to judge a 2-month-old government.
I mentioned
How
in
is that
reference
possible?
to a specific. I mentioned in reference to a specific
whatever
issue.
Problem there
not
is.
Whatever the problem there is. Not whatever problem there is. Not whatever problem there is. I'm saying that when the government was in power.
You have criticized your administration in its 7th year. In its 7th year, for not solving a problem.
As a matter of fact, our government, you criticize our office
in this 2 months. For not solving the problem that you didn't solve.
You criticize the MPP government in its first year.
Okay.
So all of a sudden,
I want my boss, the MD for the company, to criticize me for not ending the show on time. So I'd want to thank Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. for your time. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., it's always a pleasure having you on Wednesday on Good Morning Ghana. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper, and also Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama is a former technical advisor at the office of the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bami, and also presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. My name is Awudu Moro. Thanks for watching another edition, or the Wednesday edition of Good Morning Ghana. Same time tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. God willing, inshallah, we'll be back with another edition. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Excuse me, sir. Hello.